Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Reader's Magnet featured author interview, where we dive deep into the world of creativity and inspiration. And today, I am your host. My name is Rob Lambeth, and with me is our guest for today is the author of the book. Giving is not just for the very rich, a how-to guide for giving and philanthropy. So please help me welcome the one and only, the golden one, Dr. Susan Aurelia Gitelson. So, Dr. Susan, how are you doing today?
I'm very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Really love that. And again, to all of our viewers, though, again, we'll be pinning in the comment section below where you can grab a copy of Dr. Gitelson's book, though. Check it out. It's available in the comment section. We'll be pinning that below. And if ever you want to follow the conversation and know more about what Dr. Gitelson has been doing so far, and I got to tell you, it is a lot, especially with this how-to guide for giving philanthropy. I tell you, it is a must-have thing. And again, here's the major concept that I do have it, and I've read a couple of chapters of the book here. It's if you want to be a philanthropist, you have this idea that you need to be very rich, but it's just not does not boil with that idea. You don't need to be very rich in order for you to help. So we'll break this down into bits and pieces, get more information from the author itself. So, Dr. Susan, just want to ask you a couple of things, especially that we're talking about giving to people, giving back some stuff here. So, what are some practical ways that we can incorporate giving into our daily lives then?
The first rule is to listen to people, to look around. What is it that people really need and want, and how can we assist them?
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest way to find out is through conversation with people of all ages. I've been having a great time with youngsters of 10 and younger, because I started all in philanthropy when I was 9 years old. And
Oh.
my father encouraged me to discuss things with him. He liked to give uh, books and rare books and manuscripts to university libraries, and he
Mhm.
would take me along. And I was fascinated. And then when he wanted to talk to adults and there were panel discussions or anything, he brought me along. And it was such a marvelous experience. And then the real touchstone was when he received an incunabulum, meaning a book published before 1500. And
Hmm.
he said to me, because he had a good friend who was a librarian and needed such a book in order to get credentials to open his library. And my father said, should we keep the book? It's valuable.
Oh.
Or can we give it to the librarian for his library? And I said immediately, let's give it to the librarian, because then it will help many people. So that's how I got started in all this stuff. And I've been very happy, and there've been a few years, but it never gets dull.
Well, I gotta say though, starting at the very young age of six, if I'm understanding that correctly, 6 years
Nine.
old, 9 years old, 9 years old, you started at nine, and your father had been teaching you these ways, giving you this idea. Again, it's more of like a calling. But when we talk about having this sense of purpose as well, so Susan, how can really individuals achieve like this sense of purpose through philanthropy, like what you're currently doing?
Well, the first thing is to think about it and to talk with people and to find out what are the things that are really needed
Hmm.
and what can we do at our level, because some of us aren't that rich, we can't afford big contributions, but we can give something or have ideas and inspire others and start a whole process so that to make giving really worthwhile, and people uh, can feel satisfied, fulfilled when they give to others, and especially to institutions.
And there's this one thing that you just mentioned that really just caught my attention. Like giving beyond beyond money. It's not all about finances. So, what will be some creative ideas for giving that really go beyond financial donations? There.
Well, my specialty is establishing awards.
Oh, okay.
Um, if you belong to a group, as I do, and uh, we have certain ideals, and yet there's no award, how do you make examples of the people who are really doing great things?
Mm.
This happened, for example, with Columbia University, with the School of Law and Human Rights. And there were a number of excellent students who were writing papers about human rights. And I said, why don't we give an award for the best paper? And
Hmm.
we did so. The school set up a reception where all the students could be there. And then
Mhm.
it was the professors who decided. I couldn't choose the winner, but the professors decided and brought the student forward to discuss his or her ideas and essay. And this led to great things. And of course, once you start with one person, there's a tradition and more people join in.
Okay, and and that is really something, like giving awards, knowing as recognition, like, hey, this person has done something, and how would people know that this person has done something very good within the community if they won't be even recognized for it? Like working in silence, but being recognized by groups here. But Susan, you also mentioned here that there are certain groups here, and when I talk about groups, something comes into mind. Like we have wealthy donors, and we also have average individuals. So how does a wealthy donor approach philanthropy differently than an average individual then?
Well, a wealthy donor obviously has plenty of money to give, but does this person want to think about what is really desirable, what is really necessary, uh, and how can we attract people to be interested and to do something? You know, I was reading today um, that at Columbia, um, an award that had been given in the medical school by the
Okay.
Secklers for
Okay.
many years with their name. They were asked to withdraw their name. Why? Because unfortunately, many of those awards and programs had gone for drugs,
Hmm.
and the people who took too many drugs could become ill, and some of them even died.
Oh.
So the university asked these donors who happen to be wanting to be very generous that they should take over the award, and then they should participate, but not to encourage um, behavior that would lead to illness and death,
Hmm.
such
Hmm.
as taking too many drugs.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's something that it really has this thing. But again, Susan, talking more about this, like, is this because there's just a question on top of my head, and I'm curious because I just want to know on how these things get processed, because philanthropy is just something that a lot of people they have heard of it, but they don't know that it is a practice that some people do. Not all of the not all a lot of people do it, but people do. So if you can just walk me through that process, like, is there um is there something that philanthropists can really start on? Let's say for me, I'm not wealthy, I'm not a wealthy donor, so I don't have a lot of things to give. And if there are some things that I want to help out, and I do understand that conversations is really important when talking with people, knowing how you can help them and how you can approach an individual. So if I would be let's say, does philanthropy only apply to let's say our fellow humans, or does this apply to anything else that we can also help with, like dog orphanages or animal shelters? Does it also extend to that point, or are we talking about helping our fellow human beings as well?
Well, mainly since we are human beings,
Yes.
we like to concentrate on other human beings. But of course, it's very important to help um, animals, dogs, all kinds of wonderful creatures whom we associate with. Um,
Okay.
but the main thing is what has become very widespread now is that there are young people who want to help others. And for example, there were fires in Southern California, and this
Okay.
problem, that problem, and people need something to eat.
Okay.
It's
Good.
so immediate. People need something to eat. So then, uh, would be philanthropists, would be givers, make sandwiches, do something, even if it's a small something, to help people who are homeless or hungry or whatever it is, have something to eat, something to build on, to feel better about. Because this philanthropy is not only the actual gift, but it's
Okay.
the spirit. We want to help you. We know that you're in a bad situation. You didn't want to be, but if there's a fire and your house burns down, and what do you do? Um, well, we want to help you. We want to find food for you. We want to find medicine for you. We want to make your life easier. And just the fact that other people care about you will make you feel much better.
And I love that. I do understand why you are considering the golden one here, because here at the Readers Magnet staff, that we always been hearing from you, especially with your interviews, your book talks, your book signings. These are the things that a lot of people might are aware of, and a lot of people know about this. And talking about a golden one, it really reflects that it's not giving and helping other people is not because of a selfish need, but it's the act of making sure that you can help someone and have them make their life better. Like in this current situation that you're having some difficult times, there will always be someone who would care for you. Like humanity is not dead. Like there's always that one person that can really say, like, no matter where you are right now, if you're in a ditch, I'll pull you out and I'll make sure that we can help you make your life a bit better. And I really love that about you, Susan. And that's one thing that I can say, like, I just want to give you a I want to give a round of applause for it. Like, it is not. It's the art of giving is something that if you give something, you want something in return. Like, I want someone to give something back to me. But no, there's no sense of malice, and it's just giving to help, giving to make sure that everyone can say that life is good, life will be better in the end. And I really love that about it, Susan. So, Susan, let's say, going back about philanthropy here. So, in and you mentioned that there are a lot of volunteers then. So, how do you think that volunteers can really make a significant impact within their communities? Like, in what ways can these volunteers make that impact?
Well, usually there are organizations that
Hmm.
emphasize certain causes, but it's very important to check into
Mm,
these don't believe if someone says, "Oh, I have a good cause," and just giving you money. Don't believe it.
okay.
Always do research. I mean, that's one of the in my book. I have a whole
Sure, sure.
section or several sections with a
Hmm.
list of the guides to philanthropies, which are the ones that are really doing something worthwhile, and which are the ones that are ripoffs.
Hmm.
That's number one, because if you're ripped off by some organization, you sounds good, but you don't
Yeah.
know who they are. It's very disillusioning, and it might prevent you from giving more. So
Hmm.
always do research and
Hmm.
and help people find the most valuable organizations to give to, not just anything, but really. And again, this is part of the process because philanthropy is not just, oh, take some money.
Mhm.
No, it's really thinking through what will really help others.
Hmm.
The best example, or one of the best examples, is that the former wife of um, Bezos, the head of Amazon.
Okay.
He divorced her. He wanted somebody else. I don't
Okay.
know. She was taking care of the children,
Okay.
and uh, from the settlement, he got billions of dollars. She got maybe 4 billion. So
Hmm.
somebody asked her, "Oh, that's not so much." And I'm not going to be able to get a yacht like my former husband did, and and really play around and build a big house.
Hmm.
No, she uses her maiden name, Mackenzie Scott, and she looks for people who need help, who
Hmm.
want to go to school, who need food, whatever it is. And she sets up programs very carefully, and she
Mm.
helps people, and she
Mm.
brings other people into the cause. And to
Mm.
me, this is the best kind of philanthropy because she's not asking for anything. She wants to help, but she wants to help in a very intelligent way,
Mm.
and that makes a difference and set an example for others.
Love that. Love it. And it always boils down like if you want to go into philanthropy and you want to give back or if you want to help people, like you always need to think of it like how can you make that impact and how can you help people. And yeah, I do believe going back with what you said earlier, having these conversations and not just talking to them but listening to them is really one key essential important matter for philanthropy to really work. Because you might be saying like, yeah, you're giving food to someone or you're giving them clothes and whatnot, but if that's not what they really need, yes, you might be helping them a certain way, but knowing what they really need would create a much more significant impact onto their future, which is one thing that, as you mentioned earlier, is different. Like it is smart philanthropy, like thinking of how to give back in ways that will be beneficial, not just for the moment, but in the long term future. And I really love that. Really love that. Really love that.
Oh, that's great. And,
Yes.
some of the best philanthropists,
Hmm.
um, like Bloomberg,
Oh.
give money to medical schools or other institutions, academic institutions, in order to enable students who are very sincere but don't have enough money to afford
Mm-hmm.
uh, tuition fees or anything.
Hmm.
And here these billionaires come along and they say, don't worry anymore. Just come to school, study, learn, and help others. And you won't have to worry about all the fees because I'm going to help you. But if you don't take it seriously, oh, isn't that
Okay.
nice? I have some money. No, thank you. Anyone
Mm.
who doesn't um, create a
Okay.
situation where he or she can help others is not fulfilling this whole chain of philanthropy.
Hmm. Okay. So Dr. Susan, just one more thing, because again, we're talking about Bloomberg, these companies or industries who do charities or help support. So, are there any what are the type of programs then that are really considered like the most worthwhile for people to support them?
Fortunately, and at least in America, you get choices.
Hmm.
Uh, the easiest way to start is through religious philanthropies. If you
Hmm.
belong to a church, a synagogue, or a mosque, and there are really functioning groups, it's a way to A, help others, and B, meet other people who are also desirous of helping others so that you can build rapport and think of new ways to help more and more people.
Okay, love that, love that. And again, it's at least if ever people want or individuals who want to start philanthropy and want to know and want to embody, if you have this calling, like it doesn't need to be like a very huge one, but you can start small. Like religious philanthropy is one of those examples. Thank you very much for that. So you can at least you'll be having that first foot in front of that door. Then you can be starting doing helping through philanthropy as well. And but Susan, one more thing that I also noticed here is that Again, right now with the younger generations, there's like Gen Z's or millennials or people who use social media in ways to promote and whatnot. So if I'll be asking you, like, how can really social media be utilized then to promote giving and for charitable causes? Like, how can social media be like the linchpin when it comes with that?
When people sincerely want to help others, they can search through different social media uh,
Hmm.
that are out there and
Mm,
see what you can do. But also,
okay.
when you talk about younger people, it's one thing for
Hmm.
Gen Z. I have been meeting young people of 9 and 10 years old who want to help others, as I did when I was
Hmm.
that age, and they really get into the act.
Mm.
And then some of them get awards for philanthropy when you're 10 years old. It's very nice. Usually, if you start young, you
Hmm.
continue forever. You can never do enough. You just think about it, which organization, which cause, where can I be useful, and then meet other people who are interested in the same kind of cause
Hmm.
and create something. Don't just talk, just do something.
So it's more like just walk the talk instead of talking about it. Do something about it, which is one thing that you're doing here. And Susan, there's also one more concern that I also do have, especially if ever and all 12 of our viewers, if ever you are also considering it, and we also do have these concerns, like what are the most common concerns that you usually face, like for individuals who when they decide on where to donate, like has anyone shared with you any concerns they have, or what was the most common concern that they had been facing when doing donations?
The easiest
Hmm.
way to start is to help people who can't afford to get a good meal
Meals.
and uh, bring them. What I find with some of the young people
Hmm.
at 10 years old, you can't do everything yourself. But if daddy or mommy
Hmm.
says, "Hey, come, let's buy some sandwich and fill them," and then we'll give them away. This can make such an impression on a young person. The same way when you're older, you're in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, whatever. If you get together with other people and find a way to really help a cause, you will feel tremendous because you're doing something useful,
Hmm.
and the cause is really being helped. So then you can persuade other people to join you. It's a whole process, but it
Hmm.
doesn't take a lot of money. It takes a lot of thought and a lot of concern for others.
Hmm. And I agree, and I could really say, like, because if you really want to help someone and you want to tell, like, hey, you just talk to a random individual, hey, we should help, we gather friends, let's help this community here, let's try to give food to the homeless for today, like let's go to a soup kitchen, let's try to help them out, give out food, those things. Like, it always starts with this small act, and when people look at you and they say, like, hey, this person is doing something better for the community, how about I should try it? So if we're talking about process, it's more of like a tree which has branches left and right, connecting, intertwining roots, and it all boils down, like, always you making sure that if no one else wants to do it, then you'll be that first person to be that better part of that community. And that is just something that a lot of people try to have this misconception, and it's again with the process here, and it's one thing that you feel good about it because you know that you're just not helping yourself, but you're helping an individual get through something within their day-to-day lives, and that would mean a lot, like just a simple task. And yeah, but also, Susan, just one thing though that you also mentioned earlier, talking about like religious philanthropy. um how does religious philanthropy play in shaping the culture of giving? Because I do know that religious philanthropy is one of the main parts here. So how did it shape the culture of giving then?
Well, uh, if you really care, if you go to a church or a synagogue or a mosque and you really want to relate to God, but you also want to relate to other people and make their lives easier, and you start doing things, and then you find other people feel the way you do, and you have organizations and whatever. One thing leads to another, and it's all for the good. Because if you are only thinking about yourself, or someone was just telling me, if someone gives me $5,000 for jewelry, I won't take it. I want to use it to help other people. I thought this was incredible, because these are spontaneous comments, not because you're going to a charity and you have to prove that you're so rich and you're giving so much to other people. That's very nice if you can do it. Most of us can't, but we
Mhm.
can help others and find ingenious way to help others.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that. I really, how this conversation is really putting me into a different perspective when it comes to it, and I really love I just really love this. I really love the, it's not an idea, it's the act itself. It's just not an idea, it's just not a theory. It's something that a lot of people are doing, especially you are also doing it, and taking things for yourself instead of you having the benefit of it. Sharing it with others is something that is, how do I say this? Like, I'm finding the perfect word to sum it up though, but
It's a
it make
process. It's a
yeah,
process.
it's really the process. Like, yeah, that fits perfectly. It's the process that everything goes through. You know, but you know what? Hey, Susan, there's just one thing that I just want to confirm though. When it comes with I'm talking more about philanthropy, and let's say that if ever I'll be starting to donate and make sure I can join in some charities, um how can I be sure, or how can someone or any individual evaluate that the charities that they're contributing to are being used effectively? Like, is there a way for us to know about that?
Of course. No, that's why I have a whole section in my
Oh.
book with the list of the guides to philanthropic organizations, and which are the
Mm.
ones that have been attested to as being really effective, and not the ones that are fly by nights and say, just give me your money and all's well.
And fly by nights who ask for money, like I do notice, like, you're having your coffee, someone pops up in front of you, and they're gonna bring that jar with has some couple of logos, like, hey, if you want to donate, it's for a good cause. You donate, and then eventually you try to check it up online, and then you don't know that the money's not going. It's gone. Like, they ask for charity, they're gone. You have this feeling like, I would give. And yeah, I do understand what you're trying to say. Like, after that happens, I won't be giving anymore. Like, I won't be giving
No,
it. Yeah, I
no, no,
won't be
no,
giving
no,
it.
no.
That's the
No,
thing.
it's just to be more careful about where you give your money.
Yeah, because again, they always have that. Like, for like, if ever that happens, but if ever we're more careful in who we want to help, who we want to, which is going back to doing thorough research and going to organizations who really have done these charities, that will be a much more effective. Knowing that where I am giving is going somewhere that where the cost is what I'm looking for. Like, this is the cost, this is what I want, and this is a charity that mixes well with me, and I'll be helping this charity, which is, again, the process itself. It always starts with knowing what you want to do, how can you do it, making sure that you're doing the right thing, and seeing the results of what you're trying to do as of the moment. And yeah, and I hope you do you agree with me, Susan, when I say that?
I think you're speaking very well. You're absorbing all the lessons
Yes, I
and
am.
organizing them, and which is good, because the whole idea is not just to do things for each of us, but
Mm.
to do things for other people and to get them as enthusiastic as we feel.
Yes, yes, and I have this feel like I am excited right now because, again, it's just not about donating, not donating money, just not donating money. It's donating things. Like, I do have a bunch of clothes at home that are you'll mostly use. Like I don't wear them anymore. Instead of me throwing them away, how about I could just give them to someone who might find use of them? And yeah,
Mm.
it gives you the thing like instead of me throwing away things that I don't find useful, maybe someone might find use of these items I don't no longer have. And it's just that simple act. And I'm excited. Like when I get home, I'm going to prepare everything. I'm going to be giving it away. I'm going to be giving it out after this, though. So once I get home, but going back with your book, Dr. Susan, and going back also with philanthropy here, because again, we also heard like there are some national disasters and also international aid here. So, um, can you give us at least a few examples of international aid efforts that have a lasting impact for you?
Well, for all of us,
Mhm.
because unfortunately there are uh, a lot of wars going on and people being
True.
attacked, and uh, they don't know where the next meal will come from.
Mhm.
And look at the Sudan,
Mm.
uh, but places all over the world. And we can choose. We may have visited a certain country, or we have friends who have visited a certain country, whatever it is, something that turns us on. And
Mm.
we say, but they've just gone through this terrible war. We've got
Yeah.
to help them. And I happen to have an extra suit. Oh, and I have some shoes, and I have some of this. I think I'll send them to this place, and other people can benefit from them. And I'm not using this stuff anymore.
Yeah. And again, it's really the thought and care that counts. Like giving it and knowing that, because again, when you give something, you do not expect something back. Nothing. You don't expect something back. Like it's a because again, it's normal though. Especially it's not normal, but there are some people who, when they give something, they expect something good to come back to them. Like, hey, I'm giving you this. You should give me something back in the future. But with philanthropy, it's giving and helping and making sure that again, it always boils down to making sure that people who are less fortunate can get a better shot in life, and having just that one day, like one good day, is all they need for them to get back to their feet. And I really love this cause here, and I really love what is currently happening and what you're currently doing here, Susan. And i can i I just can say that what you're doing really leaves a significant impact to the people that you have touched and to all of the lives that you have helped as well. And but Susan, there's one more thing that I've also, because I've also done some research, especially when it comes with donations. Like there are these things called multi-purpose umbrella organizations. Could you care to explain to us what are these things like multi-purpose umbrella organizations, and how does it work?
Um, we've been talking a lot about individual gifts,
Yes.
but uh, the next step really is to join organizations that are multi-purpose, meaning they do a lot of things.
Hmm.
And again, we have to check them out. Are these things they say they're doing, are they really useful and are really helping other people? It's a whole process, and one has to become knowledgeable and sophisticated and everything, especially if one is going to invest a lot of one's resources in helping others. Make sure that it's for a really good cause.
Love that. Thank you very much for that, Susan. And Susan, because again, right now, especially with entrepreneurs, social media, social entrepreneurs, as we exact, are there any key lessons? What are the key lessons that you have learned from these successful social entrepreneurs and their giving strategies that you're currently applying up to date?
This is the subject of a book or two
Yeah.
books or 10 books.
Okay.
So the always the beginning of reading a book, writing a book, watching a television, or watching
Mhm.
social media, whatever it is, it's best when it begins with a question.
And that
Someone
is
told me about this, or uh, I've I've encountered people with mental disabilities.
okay.
Let's find the organizations that can really help them.
Mm.
Let's get involved in this particular cause or another cause, multi-purpose, but just always be aware of others and what others need and how we might help the others. And it becomes a whole process. You know, I'm no longer 10 years old.
Okay.
I feel so young because the more you learn, you talk about this, you want to improve the world, the better you feel and the younger
Hmm.
you look. So you don't need lots of cosmetics. You know, you just need good intentions, good thoughts about other people.
And yeah, I do agree with that. Like, again, it's not that, okay, can cosmetics help anything, but helping someone makes you feel young. And if I gotta say though that doctors is again talking more about you and talking more about everything you've done, I just want to say this though, because again, before we start though, and before someone starts being part of the philanthropy and want to start giving to the public, if is there any advice you can give, especially on how people can evaluate process, like if when they are choosing between local committees to give or organizations to give to or international causes to support, is there a breakdown or process that people should really dig deep into, or how can you help them?
Um, the first thing is to think,
Hmm.
look around you. You know,
Okay.
which are the local organizations, which are the international organizations that seem to be doing the most,
Hmm.
and then check them out. I mean, that's why we have books. It's not as if you know, you have to wait for the answer to come down from some building or whatever. No, luckily there are guides. That's the whole idea, so that you can look into it. My book, for example, you know, giving is not just for the very rich. Well, we have lists of the most important guides to philanthropic organizations and so on. So it's really worthwhile to do some research. And that's why I gave you the example of uh, Bezos's former wife, because she is
Yes.
always doing research. She doesn't have to,
Hmm.
but she does research. She wants to make sure that if she's going to help others, they have to be worth helping. And
Mm.
that's for the rest of us.
And
So,
I agree.
right, it's a whole process. You don't just wait for a message from heaven to come down to you. I mean, that would be very nice. But it does take a little bit of effort and research to figure out what can be really effective.
Love that. Love that, Susan. And again, to all of our viewers and book lovers, though, if you are like me and you have this feeling that you want to start right now and want to know more, again, I would highly recommend to grab a copy of Susan Aurelia Gitelson's book. Again, that is Giving is Not Just for the Very Rich. Again, it is a how-to guide for giving and philanthropy. If you want to know more, check it out, though. I highly suggest it. And again, it always starts with doing that first step. And if you don't know what to do, again, grab a copy of the book, read through it, do your research, and I tell you that you would know what will be the first step you can do to create that significant impact into the community that you want to help. So you know what, Susan? As I say, as we wrap up for today's and for today's conversation, I just want to say this: that thank you for joining us today, sharing your insights, and I am so excited to see on where your journey takes you, as an author and also as a philanthropist. And I can say this though, like to all people and to all of our viewers though, be be a golden one. Be a Susan Gittleson in your communities. Help out. Make sure you can reach out, talk to them, listen to them, and there's nothing wrong with showing a little care to the society. So, Susan, I just want to say thank you. And also, is there anything else that people can look forward to see? Any future projects that our viewers might be looking forward to see from you?
Well, I've been asked to write articles. Uh,
Oh.
yes, particularly by Who's Who in America.
Mm.
Um, the latest one is in Time Magazine, and another one's coming out in Entrepreneur. And I've written in Forbes and Fortune and The New Yorker and uh, Bloomberg's Business
Mm.
Week, all kinds of things.
A lot, a lot.
Um, the advantage of an article is it's usually 1 or 2 pages, so you can get the gist easily. and follow it up, and then look at the magazines, see what else is being done. But once you're interested, it's amazing how much you can learn by just looking around and reading here and there, and asking questions and getting answers.
Love that. Love that. Okay. So again, so all of our viewers, and again, thank you so much for tuning in. And again, try to check them out though. Also grab a copy. Once again, giving is not just for the very rich. Try to grab a copy available through Amazon. We'll be pinning the comments down in the section below. So you can just click on that link, grab a copy as soon as possible, and start your philanthropy journey as soon as possible. So again, to all of our viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. And always remember that every ending is just a new beginning in the world of stories. May your reading adventures be endless and your imagination boundless. And as we say here at Readers Magnet, we share your stories with the world. Thank you, Susan, and you have a blessed, wonderful day. Thank you, and
Thank
bye-bye.